this looks way better.
Yeah. What are you on, James?
What?
What are you on?
I'm on the Woodsman. So here we are, looking at this little thing, the Marhar Woodsman. And they have two powder rides that we'll be referencing back and forth. Let's see, you got that in the camera? Oh, maybe about right there, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of blends in a little too.
Yeah, it blends in the back. So this little guy, this little 145, is a super surfy powder board. And it really is just a powder board. I've been riding it for 3 days now, and finally got the last day of sunny Bluebird Day. And every day it went from being a kind of a shitty powder day, super kind of almost raining, to then a little better powder day the next day, but still not that great. And then today was perfect because we got lots of groomers, perfect groomers, and we got some really good powder off the back, off hemlocks, And so the more powder you get in this, the better this little thing performs. It's super quick and surfy. It's really a great tree board. It's really got an easy turning, even though it's a short fatty. It's like a 145, and it's got lots of taper in the tail. So this thing just, wherever you want it, it just completely circles around, and it's just so easy to turn. It's so easy to work with. The one thing I would say is a lot of times I like powder boards that aren't just powder boards. You know, they're powder boards that when the powder's done, you can take it out on groomers, carve them up and slash them up and really have a good surfy, carvy fun time. Well, with the Woodsman, it really is like its really only strong point is powder, and it really slashes and surfs powder. It's a very surfy board, and it does it very well. However, when you get to groomers, the board kind of falls apart, and it's for, I think, mainly for this reason. It's flat to rocker, so that can still be fun on groomers, turning here and there, as long as you aren't really expecting a dynamic turn and a dynamic carve. You can still get out there and slash and really have fun after the powder. But then there's a second element to this flat to rocker ride, and it's basically like lifted up. The edge is about this far off the ground throughout the entire board, and so that makes it a little weird with having really good groomers for the first time today. I really noticed its shortcomings in groomer riding. It's really kind of, it feels kind of almost loose. It feels kind of semi-stable, even though it's flat to rocker. Normally that's a very stable feel. It feels a little loose, one footing off the chair, and smooth, flat groomers. And it just didn't really like turn well. You feel like you had to lean over a lot further, and it definitely takes some getting used to. It gives you that sensation at first, like you haven't cranked, like you haven't tightened your heel strap all the way. You're like, oh, do I, oh, okay, no, you're in your bindings. Your bindings are fine. It's that board. But back to the fun parts of this, I had a blast slashing through hemlocks and
roll tape.
Yeah, well, you'll see. You probably have already seen it, and it really shines for a directional surfy ride. And I rode this with Burton AMB's, Adidas Tactical ADVs. I rode it with Union Atlas and Union Super Pros. I found that this board really likes a softer, more mellow response like the Super Pros. So after day one, I took off the Atlas and put on the Super Pros, and then pairing them up with a softer boot like the Burton AMB was better than the Adidas Tactical ADV for this. I think it likes less response because it's such an easy, responsive board already. The float's amazing. It does bounce around a little bit when we were coming down paranoids, and we were bouncing through that chunder. As I picked up speed, I started to feel the board get a little bucky. But if you wanted to weave in and out of moguls, like bumpy moguls at slower speeds, this would be a champ. But it's not really a bomber to really power through chunder. But that's a common failing with almost all short fatties like this. So this isn't specific to the Woodsman.
With the length, you lose stability. Yeah.
You get fast turning and you get float and you get a really fun surfy kind of fish-like feel. This feels like a fish and a shortboard combined. It feels like a performance groveler because it can really just. There's no long drawn-out turns. You can just slash on call, and so I'd say that's just a common problem with all short fatties. They tend to buck around, especially ones that are really tail light like this. And I have this kind of like, I'm not all the way back on the tail, but this seems like it's got great float and it can handle some really deep powder. I'd probably, if it was super deep, like waist to tits, I'd probably want something else, but probably everything up into waist, this is just a surfy good time. So there you have it. Anything you want to add? Or
I just was following him, so I don't know. It looked really like he was having a blast, and the smile on his face was huge when he was talking.
Oh yeah, you didn't ride this, but thanks for standing in here with me and giving me support. I felt like I gave a better review because Jimbo was here.